Yesterday was supposed to be a moment of strength and strategy for Prime Minister Keir Starmer, but instead, it's turned into what many are now calling a political disaster. Amid rising global tensions and pressure at home, Starmer made a move that has triggered outrage, confusion, and serious concern across the political spectrum. His remarks, made during a high-profile appearance in Paris, have sparked an immediate firestorm, with critics accusing him of dodging accountability and potentially dragging the UK into dangerous territory. So what exactly did he say? Why are leaders from all sides demanding answers? And how has this one statement turned into Starmer's biggest misstep yet? Let's break it down. But first, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more deep dives into the biggest political is facing intense backlash after what many are calling a catastrophic blunder during a high-stakes diplomatic moment in Paris. On Friday, the Prime Minister made a statement that has not only stunned critics across the political spectrum, but also raised serious questions about the future of Britain's role in the Ukraine conflict. Speaking to GB News' political editor Christopher Hope, Starmer vowed that MPs would get a vote before any long-term deployment of British troops to Ukraine. But his carefully worded response has done little to calm growing concerns. In fact, it sparked an all-out political firestorm. "I don't want to get ahead of ourselves with votes because we are not at that stage," he said. "We are at the stage of turning political momentum into operational plans, looking at the various options and then going for the next piece of work with the chiefs of defence." Critics were quick to seize on the ambiguity of that statement. What does long-term mean? Who decides when we've crossed the threshold from temporary involvement to long-term deployment? And why isn't Parliament being consulted immediately as these operational plans take shape? Starmer's remarks came after intense pressure from the leaders of the Conservatives, Reform UK, and the Liberal Democrats, all of whom demanded that any commitment to military action or troop deployment be put before Parliament. Instead of a clear and immediate commitment to democratic oversight, Starmer offered vague assurances, insisting that Parliament will have a say only if troops are deployed on a long-term basis. The backlash has been swift. Critics are accusing Starmer of trying to sidestep accountability, potentially dragging the UK into deeper military involvement without clear parliamentary consent from the outset. Some are calling this a Friday disaster, warning that the UK risks becoming embroiled in an international conflict without the full backing of its own democratic institutions. To make matters worse, Starmer confirmed that British military chiefs will be heading to Ukraine alongside teams from France and Germany to begin developing operational plans to enforce a future ceasefire agreement. This triple-pronged approach, involving military strategists from Europe's three largest economies, is being framed as preparation for peace. But many see it as a clear escalation, especially given the current volatility on the ground. "We will be ready to operationalize a peace deal whenever its precise shape turns out to be," Starmer said. "We will work together to ensure Ukraine's security so it can defend and deter against the future." The problem? There's no peace deal in sight. In fact, tensions are escalating, not easing. Just hours after Starmer's announcement, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky accused Russia of breaking a ceasefire agreement, launching new strikes on critical energy infrastructure. Zelensky revealed that a key energy facility in Kherson was targeted, calling for an immediate US response to the violation. Russia, on the other hand, insists that a ceasefire on energy targets has been in place since March 18th. This latest development only fuels the concerns surrounding Starmer's announcement. If a ceasefire can't even hold now, how realistic is it to plan for future peace enforcement operations? And why is the UK so eager to put boots on the ground before a deal even exists? What happens next? This situation is far from settled. Starmer's refusal to guarantee a parliamentary vote up front has left him exposed to accusations of undermining democracy, and his plans to involve British military personnel in Ukraine, even under the banner of peace, are being viewed as premature and reckless by many. As operational plans begin to take shape, the question remains, will Parliament be sidelined, or will public pressure force the Prime Minister to rethink his strategy? One thing is certain, this was not the Friday Starmer was hoping for. In other news, Nigel Farage and NatWest are understood to have reached a settlement over the debanking scandal, with the banking group thought to have paid an unspecified sum in damages. The Reform UK leader and Coutts Bank owner have agreed to resolve their dispute 2 years after the closure of one of Farage's accounts at the financial institution. As part of the deal, Farage is understood to have withdrawn the threat of potential civil and criminal proceedings against NatWest, Sky News reports. Reform UK Treasurer Nick Candy is believed to have been responsible for facilitating a resolution between the two parties. It should be noted that exact details on the nature of the settlement have yet to be fully confirmed. In a joint statement, Farage and NatWest said, NatWest Group and Nigel Farage MP are pleased to confirm that they have resolved and settled their dispute, and the bank has apologised to Mr. Farage. The terms of settlement are confidential. Farage was originally planning to seek millions of pounds from the company, alleging that the debanking scandal had hurt his public reputation. The dispute saw the resignation of Dame Alison Rose, the ex-chief executive of NatWest, in summer 2023. The scandal came about when NatWest's Coutts subsidiary made the decision to shut down the politician's accounts for commercial or political reasons. Originally, NatWest stated the motivation was commercial. However, this was called into question after Farage obtained internal evidence suggesting it was due to his political leanings. Following this, an inaccurate report on the story from the BBC caused further controversy after it was revealed the journalist who wrote the article sat next to Dame Alison Rose at a dinner. Then Conservative Prime Minister Rishi Sunak took NatWest Group to task over the handling of Farage's accounts, resulting in Rose leaving her role. In the wake of the scandal, NatWest's then chairman, Sir Howard Davies, has been replaced by former MasterCard chairman Rick Haythornthwaite, with Paul Thwaite taking on Dame Alison Rose's position. Since this change, NatWest Group has reported a hike in profitability and is close to returning to full private sector ownership. Once markets opening this morning, shares in NatWest Group closed at 463.9 pence, giving the bank a market capitalisation of more than £37 billion. Furthermore, stock in the banking group has increased by more than 75% over the past 12 months. Following last year's general election, Reform UK has secured 4 seats in Parliament under Farage's leadership. Currently, the party is sitting at around 23% to 27% in the polls against Labour, the Conservatives and Liberal Democrats. What are your thoughts on what we discussed in today's video? Let me know down